is computed. Okay, you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We
so
see
what
the whiteboard now.
Yeah, whiteboard only I'm sharing. Okay, see what I'll give you just a brief on what we have discussed so far. Okay, so we'll start from scratch from a user who is writing a code currently. Okay, so when a user, so let's say this is my user. Okay, this is another user. Okay, these two users are in the same team and they are writing a code. Okay, so what was the issue earlier? Like before this artifact, before this source code version and version control thing came in, source code management came in. What was the issue? So when this person used to write a code, he used to write in his local. Correct. This person used to write a code, he used to write in his local, but he does not know what thing he has wrote. Okay, and when these two changes have to be merged, how will they merge? They used to copy it, and he might be sending this file to him. Okay, this guy will merge both the codes and will deploy it. Okay, so PvP working for if we had multiple people in the team, then this would have been very difficult. And let's say this person was working on version 1 of the code. Okay, and this guy was working on version 2. Now he has to merge his version 2 to version 1. Okay, and again till that time this guy start working on version 3. Okay, now how will you track the versions? Okay, tracking the versions is very difficult. Correct. So that is why there came a requirement of something called a source code management and a version control. Okay, so for that there were multiple tools available in the market. So we have something called CVS or SVM. Okay, these were on the local. Correct. He used to have his copy. Okay, and this guy also used to have his copy. Correct. And versioning was maintained on their local copies. Correct. If he wants to see the version of which code he's working on, or he wants to track some of the old files on the previous versions, so he used to track it on his laptop only, his version control system only. Okay, same with this guy. Okay, there was nothing called a central one. There was nothing called a central version control. Okay, there was nothing called a central version control where this guy can also see, or this guy can also see. Okay. Sorry, I missed something here. Wait. So there used to ignore the local. I forgot. I missed. There was some. See, not the local. There was in case of CVS and SVN, what used to have? There used to be a central repo. Okay, and this guy needed internet to connect to this repo. This guy also needed internet to connect to this repo. They both used to. He starts working on version 1. He starts working on version 2. They both commit their versions there, and whatever tracking of the version is going on, this is happening on this central version only. Okay, this is happening on central version only. So first of all, these both guys have to use internet to connect to this repo. Correct? This was issue number 1. They had to use internet to connect to this repo. Second, if this central repo crashes, what used to happen? Everything is lost. All the versions of the code is lost. Okay, so this was issue number 2. So to overcome this, we had tools like Git. Okay, so these tools were what we're doing. Apart from having the central repo, they used to have a local repo now. Okay, they used to have local repo now. So this local repo is Git. Okay, and whatever changes they are doing now, they are doing on their local repo. Okay, all the versions and everything they can maintain on their local repo, individual local repos. And whenever they do something, they have to commit something. They push, they commit their changes in the local repo, and after everything is finalized, they push the changes to the remote repo. Now, after they push the changes to the remote repo, even this developer can see what other changes this guy has pushed. Okay, so versioning happens on the remote repo as well. Correct. So in case of this Git and GitHub, version control is happening on local as well as remote repo. Got it? Clear? So this
it's clear, but thing is, I lack, to explain fluently like you. So, things are like you very fluently.
Prakash, is it Raj Prakash? I couldn't hear you. Can you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah, it's clear, but when you're asking question, it's very difficult to fluently talk about this. That is something.
I'm losing your voice. Like it is clear when you start, but after a few seconds, it's.
Is it better now?
No, not better.
Still the same?
It's not loud. Raj, can you hear me properly?
Hello, can you hear now?
I can hear you. Say it again.
Yes, Puneet, I can hear you. I can hear you. No issues from my end.
No, yeah, your voice is clear. Your voice is clear.
Okay, then, yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, Prakash.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is, we can understand when you're telling that, but if you ask the same question to us on that topic, I find it difficult to explain like you.
Yeah, because just revise it. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Just see the video again. Just revise it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not saying to just watch this in this video again.
Mm-hmm.
You can Google it. You can watch videos on YouTube. Okay, there are so much content available for DevOps on YouTube. You can watch those videos as well. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Important thing is the concept. Just get the concept of things. Okay. And how these tools, whatever I am telling, are solving our problems. Okay. So Git and GitHub, now these are solving our problems now. Okay. Now people can easily commit their code in the local repo, version their code in the local repo, store their code, and whenever they have done their changes, whenever they are fine, they can commit it into the central repo, into the remote repo. Okay. And all the members of the team can see whatever they have committed. So versioning is maintained on your remote repo as well. Okay, so this was source code management and version control. Next, what we discussed? We discussed about Jenkins. Okay. After that, we discussed about Jenkins. So what was Jenkins doing? So when these guys used to commit the code on GitHub, we want something automated, something automations happening. Okay. So why do we develop a code? We develop a code which is having some logic. We produce what are the steps involved in developing a code? What are the steps? What are the whole steps involved in IT? So a developer writes a code. Okay. The developer writes a code. He commits it to the repo. Okay. That code might be Java, Python, or any language. Okay. And that code has to be compiled. Correct. That code has to be compiled. Because the code that code has to compile, and after compiling, there is a compile and build. Okay, you have to compile and build that code. Okay, that will create an artifact. Correct. For example, in case of Java code, we create a jar file or a war file. Okay, so that comprises of all that jar file is a package. Jar file is a package of all the code that you have in a project. Okay, so that file, that jar or war file, has to be deployed on any server. Correct. When you do any deployments, what happens? So you deploy those jar files or the war files on the server. So that is called deployment, right? So how this thing has to be automated? So there has to be something that automates it, correct? Or something that orchestrates everything, starting from user writing the code to deployment of that code on any server. Everything has to be automated, correct? So for that we have Jenkins. Okay, so we studied Jenkins. So what was Jenkins doing? So whenever our developer used to write a code, commit it into GitHub, our Jenkins used to know, okay, this guy has committed something in the code. There is new code happening, new code being committed to GitHub, and a build used to trigger on Jenkins, which would build that code, which will compile that code and build that code, and a jar used to get produced. Okay, and jar will be ready for deployment on any server. Correct? Got the idea?
Yes.
So that's what Jenkins used to do. Now there can be other things as well. This was very straightforward flow I told you. So after the user commits the code here, pushes the code to GitHub, so there can be other things also involved. So let's say we have a system here which checks the quality of the code. Okay, let's say we have a system here. We have a system here to check the quality of the code. Okay, so that is called, we'll study about it, Sonar Cube. Sonar Cube is the software which checks the quality of the code. So the person writes a Java code. So he should write a proper code, correct? Formatting should be correct. His variable name should be proper, like following all the Java practices. For example, it should be variable should be declared. The method should be declared in camel cases, and all those things. These rules depend on language to language. Okay, for Java there will be different set of rules. For Python there will be different set of rules. Alignment, everything has to be checked. Okay, so your code has to be good quality, right? So for that we have something called Sonar Cube. This tool checks the quality of the code. Okay, so what happens? So we want Jenkins to do this as well. We want whenever someone commits the code into GitHub, Jenkins build will be triggered, and Jenkins build what will do? Jenkins build will analyze this code, whether this code is following all the quality or not. Okay, if the code fails any quality checks, so Jenkins will send a notification to the user that okay, this has failed. So this is what continuous integration is, correct? We saw what is continuous integration. Continuous integration is this only. The user gets a feedback after every step. Okay. So this was, let's say, step number 1. There is something called Sonar Cube, a system. So Jenkins will see that the person has written something, has committed something, some code in his GitHub, and he has, and after committing that code, the Jenkins job will be triggered. Jenkins will trigger a job. That job will scan that code, will analyze that code for quality checks. If this code fulfills all the quality checks, so we move to the next step. So Jenkins will trigger another step. What will be the other step? Other step would be, let's say, building the code. For example, Maven, which we saw in the last session. Maven, what does Maven do? Maven builds your code. It compiles your code and builds your code and generates an artifact. We saw what is an artifact, correct? So this is also Jenkins is doing. Jenkins will call Maven. So here you have Maven. Okay. So Jenkins is doing all the orchestration. Okay. So Jenkins is the heart of Jenkins is, can I increase the size of this heart? No, leave it. Let's say this is Jenkins. Jenkins, that's why Jenkins is called the heart of your DevOps. Okay, because Jenkins manages everything. Okay, this is Jenkins. So Jenkins is doing all the orchestration. Correct. Whatever integration is happening throughout, like Jenkins is receiving all the notification from GitHub that okay, the person has committed the code. Okay, now Jenkins, what will do? It will see that it will trigger a Sonar Cube job. Okay, it will have a Sonar Cube step that would analyze the code. Then after this step is completed, Jenkins will trigger Maven job that will build the code and create artifact. Then after the code, what will the artifact? Let's say it's a Java code. So my artifact will be a jar file. Okay. So after jar file is generated, what will Jenkins do? Jenkins will deploy this artifact to some environment. Okay. Got it? Now you understand why Jenkins is the most important tool we have in DevOps? Because it's managing everything. It's managing everything. Not only these, there can be other steps as well. It depends on, these are not mandatory steps. Your pipeline, your project can have SonarQube and cannot have SonarQube. It's fine. It is not a mandatory step. So Jenkins can integrate many other things. It's not only SonarQube and Maven. So there is something called Nexus. Okay, there is something called Nexus here. Nexus is nothing but an artifactory. Okay, so your code, as we talked about that day, so your code might require various dependencies. Correct. For example, we discussed we have our Spring Boot application. Okay, so our Spring Boot application might require various. Let's say it's our website. It's our Amazon website we are creating. Okay, that website is developed on using multiple languages and multiple frameworks, and so your code might require various dependencies. It might require some Spring dependencies. It can require some Hibernate dependencies. If it is connecting with the database, it will require some JDBC dependencies. Okay, MySQL, Oracle dependencies. If it is doing some analysis, that it might require some other dependencies. Okay, so your project might require multiple dependencies. So where will you store all these dependencies? So for that we have Nexus. Okay, so Nexus is a project management tool which manages our project. Okay, Nexus is a project management tool which manages our project. So in Nexus we have a pom.xml. We discussed that day. Also pom.xml contains list of dependencies that your project is having. Your project might be dependent on hundreds of things. Okay, so your pom.xml keeps a track of all the things that your project is dependent upon. Okay, so you will have all those dependencies listed in pom.xml along with all the versions of those dependencies. Correct. Your dependencies can also have various versions. Okay, you might have Hibernate version 3.0, you might have Hibernate version 4.0, 5.0, Spring version 3.0, 4.0, whatever. And your code is, let's say, compatible with only 4.0. So in the pom.xml, you will mention Spring 4.0. That's it. Okay, you don't have to go again and download 3.0, 4.0, whatever. Just check. Okay, my system is compatible with 3.0, so I'll go and download this. So you don't have to do all this. Everything Nexus is, so Maven is managing everything, because the pom.xml you have in Maven. Okay. Got it? Got the integration? How Jenkins is integrating everything? Raj, Prakash? Any confusions?
Yeah, I mean, so we have Jenkins, and so from GitHub, push the code, or we can pull the code, right? And then via Jenkins, is it correct?
Yes, Jenkins is doing everything. You don't do anything. Jenkins, you have just created a job. So Jenkins will see that, will get a notification. Jenkins will get a notification that someone has committed a code in GitHub.
Yeah.
Okay. So after that,
and then
Jenkins will pull that code. Okay.
Yeah.
And build that code. create artifact. That's it.
So it will also do quality check, right?
Yeah, it
After
will also do
building the
quality check. Those are not mandatory steps. Okay, quality checks is optional. So
Sonar cube,
yeah, for that you have Sonar cube. So what Jenkins will do? So we'll specify all those steps in that Jenkins job only. So whenever something happens on GitHub, whenever some commit happens, our Jenkins job will get triggered. And what will our Jenkins job do? Jenkins job will do first step. It will do the quality check of the code, whether the code passes all the quality checks. If yes, if it passes, then it will build the code. How will it build the code? Using Maven. We have pom.xml in our code because Jenkins has already pulled the code. Okay, now it has all the code. In our code, we have pom.xml. Using pom.xml, we will build that code. Okay, and what would be the output of building the code? A jar file.
Yeah.
And that jar file would be stored in Nexus. Nexus is a repository where your artifacts are stored. We'll cover Nexus today.
So the jar file is the artifact you're talking.
Yes, everything is artifact. Everything is artifact. So even the dependencies, like for example, I told you an example, right? Let's say our application, it's a web application we are developing, an Amazon website. Okay, that is developed using Spring. Okay, and it is depending on it is from database they are using MySQL. Okay, and they're using various other things. Okay, so in my code, I'll need Spring dependencies. Correct? Dependencies are just libraries. Okay, dependencies are just the libraries that you are using to build your project. Okay, so your project might have various dependencies. For example, our Amazon application, let's say it has dependencies for MySQL. It has dependency for Spring. So all these dependencies, we'll mention that in our pom.xml of this project. Okay, so whenever we try to build this project, what will Maven do? Maven will download these dependencies. Then it will compile our code. Okay, and then it will create an executable.
Are you sharing another screen or just the same screen?
The same screen, same screen.
You're talking on the white screen, right? Okay.
Yeah, I'm same screen.
Okay.
Using that pom.xml, it will create a jar file. Okay, execute jar file, and jar file is the thing what we have to deploy. Correct? On any environment. Okay, we have prod environment, we have development environment, test environments. So how we deploy on these environments? We have some executable. Correct? We have some packages. Correct? We have some packages that we deploy. So Maven creates a package from the pom.xml. It builds the code and creates a package. Okay, that package has to be deployed on your server, your production server, your UAT server, your any XYZ server. Okay, and all these dependencies, let's say Spring dependencies you talked about, Spring dependencies, MySQL dependencies, all XYZ dependencies, where they have to store, where they have to be stored somewhere. Correct? So those things we call it artifact. Okay, those all things are artifact only. Even all the dependencies that your project needs, Spring dependencies, MySQL dependencies, or whatever, and your jar file which got generated, even that is an artifact. Okay, because jar file can also be a dependency for some other project, right? So the project which you just created, for example, Amazon project, you created a jar file. Okay, that is your package. You packaged your code into a jar file. Okay, now this jar file may also be required in some other project. Okay, so that will also be a dependency for other project. Correct? Similar to my Amazon project in which I have Spring and MySQL as my dependency. Okay, so in this, after compiling it and building it, I created a jar file. Okay, and this jar file can be a dependency for other project. Okay, in that other project pom.xml, I'll specify this jar file as a dependency. Okay, so when that other project builds, this particular jar gets downloaded. Okay, and it is used to build that other project. Got it?
Okay.
Got it? So all these artifacts are stored in Nexus. Nexus is just a storage. It's a artifactory. It's a repository where you store all these artifacts. Okay, it maintains everything. It maintains the versions of your artifact. Okay, it is a storage. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll again explain you the pom.xml that we had discussed in the previous session. Can you see my pretty screen?
Yeah.
Okay, let me. There are so many sessions opened. I'll just log into my EC2 instance. Okay, so I have connected to my EC2 instance. I log in as a root user. I'll remove Sonar, Keeper, mobile. You start from scratch everything, okay? Okay, so let's create a directory here. Our directory which we are using for the project. Let's call it mkdir September. Okay, I'll go into this. Okay, let's clone a repo. Okay, let's clone one repo. So the repos and everything you can get from my account as well, not an issue. I'll meeting controls. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, so okay, let's copy this project. Okay, so how will I clone it? How will I clone any project? So I'll go to any repo I'll go to. So you can go to my repo as well, not an issue. Okay, you can go to my repo and you can just open this project. Okay, and just go to the code. Okay, in code you will get the URL. Just copy the URL. Okay, and do a git clone and that URL. Okay, so that will bring all the project to my system. Okay.
Yeah.
So that day I installed Maven here. Okay, so you have to install that Maven and everything. All those setups are already there, so I'm not redoing all those steps. Okay, so after I installed Maven, so by default this got created. M2 dot on my root directory, root directory cd dot m2. So this got created. I'll remove settings.xml. Settings.xml you will not see initially. Okay, initially you will see only this repository. Okay, inside repository, all these things are getting downloaded. Okay, whatever when you are building a project, we saw right that day, right? Everything was getting downloaded and those things. So all these things are downloaded here only. Okay, so for practice, what I'll do, I'll delete most of them. Okay, just so that you can see that how these things are getting downloaded. You don't have to do this, okay? I'm just doing it so that you can see that, see everything from scratch, because these things are there in my repo because I have already implemented those things. That's why. Log4j as well. Okay, leave it. That's fine. Now what I'll do, I'll go to my project. Okay, so this was my project. Let's see what is inside this project. So there might be many things. You just have to be, I'll tell you what are the things you would have to be concerned about. So our folder is src. Okay, cd src. So in src we have the complete code. Okay, main, test, and all these. Inside main you will have Java files, I guess, Java resources. Okay, this is a project structure. I don't have to worry about what is inside this because I'm not the developer. Correct, I'm not the developer. I don't have to worry about what is inside this. I'm just seeing the pom.xml. I have just to be concerned about pom.xml. Okay. So ignore other things, MVN or whatever whatever Jenkins file. Ignore all these things. Ignore all these. Okay, just be concerned about src folder that we saw. Okay, and pom.xml. So this structure you already seen in the last session. Okay, this is the pom.xml. So it has the things related to the project. The group ID is com.example. It can be anything. Okay, artifact ID will be demo. With this name, your artifact will get created. And what will be the version? It's 2.0.snapshot. This is the name of the snapshot. So in the pom.xml, you will usually see two things. Okay, snapshot or release. Okay, these two things you might be seeing. So snapshot is nothing but when you're doing some developments. Okay, when the developer is doing some developments, he might be testing various things. Correct, just doing hit and trial, or just doing the things that are not just for deploying it on dev servers or test servers. Okay, the normal local servers he want to deploy. So they create snapshots for this. Okay, so that's why in those versions you will see snapshot. Okay, but in some of the pom.xml you will see releases. Okay, instead of snapshot you will see release. Okay, that means release is we call it when we have to deploy anything on production server or UAT server or like on a higher environments. Okay, then we create a release. Okay, so you must have heard already, like in your projects, that a release is going, or so release contains things which are more formal, like which are final. Okay, which are final. You will have in your repos, you will also have some release branches. Okay, some release branches means so your code is final till that level. Okay, like you have, for example, you have a few things getting released on September. End of September, things are getting released. So your developers will start working on that release branch. Okay, that is concerned for September. Okay, so all the code which is going in September will be committed to that branch. Okay, and whenever you are going to deploy that code, that artifact from the release branch will be created and deployed to the concerned server. Okay, and after 4 or 5 months, also in January, February, you will see that you already have that release branch. Okay, so just to backtrack it, okay, this is the branch I already have. Okay, this is the release branch for September which I had. Okay, just to backtrack. But snapshots are not very they are not for storing for a long time. Okay, they are not made to be stored for a long time. For example, developer might try various things. Okay, he might work on version 2 of that code, version 3 of that code, version 5 of that code. He might create various snapshots. Okay, but after creating, let's say 3, 4, 5, 6 snapshots, he come to a final conclusion. Okay, after this snapshot 6, I am sure that my code is working fine and is ready for sending to the release branch. Okay, then he will call it as release. Okay, got it? Got the difference between release and snapshot?
Yes.
Here, so here this is an example. This is an example of a snapshot. Let's say a developer has created a snapshot. Okay, this was the version. Okay, so your artifact which will be getting generated from this project will be called demo version 2.0 snapshot. So this will be the name of your artifact, like the jar file which gets created. Okay, so by default, if there is a term here called package. Okay, if package is not there in your pom.xml, that means by default it is assumed as jar. Okay, whatever, when you compile this code, when you build this code, a jar file will get created. Okay, but if you have to create a war file, let's say, okay, but if you want to create a war file, then you can specify that tag. There'll be a tag for which will be called package, and in that you can specify war. Okay, so a war file will be created instead of a jar file. Okay, so these are two different types of artifacts. A Java project can have a jar file or a war file as well. Okay. And next thing was what we saw. We saw dependencies. Dependencies are the things on which my project is dependent. For example, the things that I showed in the source code, that code is dependent on these two dependencies. Okay, let's say Spring Framework. This is the name of my dependencies. Spring Framework boot, Spring Boot Starter Web. Other dependencies is test. Okay, the unit dependencies. So all these dependencies are the things your project is depending upon. Okay, that means in order to build your project, in order to compile your code, you want to have these two dependencies in your project. Only then you will be able to build your code successfully. Okay. Now, let's say Maven was not there. Let's go to the era where Maven was not there. So in that case, you would have manually installed this dependency, okay, and then manually installed this dependency, and then you would have manually compiled your code. Okay. But now we have Maven. Now we have already written, okay, this is a dependency, this is a dependency. We have written. So we'll just execute the command, and these two dependencies will automatically get downloaded here. Okay. So this is not just about two dependencies. Your project can have 20, 30, 100 dependencies. Okay. So what used to happen before Maven, when Maven was not there? So people used to download all these 100 dependencies one by one. Okay, and then they used to compile the code, because my code is dependent on those 100 dependencies. Before compiling the code, I want to have those dependencies downloaded. Okay, so the person will download all those 100 dependencies one by one, and then then build the code. Okay, and then the code will run, and then the code will be built successfully, and a jar file would get created. Okay. But now with Maven, you don't have to do this. You just have to name those 100 dependencies here. Just provide the name of those 100 dependencies and their version. What version is their dependency? Here, they are not doing the version because it might be they might take the latest version. Okay. So Maven is doing these things for you. So you have these dependencies. Okay. Then you had a build section. Okay. That the plugins which are required to build. So we have this Spring Framework boot plugin. Don't worry about that. So you don't have to worry a lot of things about Maven, this pom.xml. You just have to be worried about the dependencies. What are the things? What are tags there? Okay, dependencies you will see are the things which your project will require for building. Okay. Okay, this was a pom.xml. Okay, ignore this. The below thing that you see, the Nexus, we'll see that today. Okay. So what if I want to build this project? What will happen? How will I used to build the file? I'll do mvn clean install. Okay. This is the command that we saw in last time, right? In the last session, mvn clean install. So this will clean the target folder. I don't have a target folder right now, so it will clean nothing. Okay, if I had a target folder, clean would clean it and install. What will it do? Install will do all the steps that I showed you before install that we had written. For example, compile, fetch the resources, compile the code. Okay, build the code. Okay, so all these things your install will do. Okay, so we'll do ambient clean install and let's see what happens. See what it is doing. See, it is downloading. It is downloading so many things. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
See, it is downloading so many things. From where it is downloading? It is downloading from HTTPS, repo, Maven, Apache, org, Maven. So this is my central repo. Central repo means this is my public repo. You mean? So even you can download it from my repo. You can download it from this repo. This is a standard Maven repo. Repo is nothing. Repo is like a database. Repo is a place where you store all those dependencies. So the dependencies that we had mentioned in the Pomodoro example, okay, based on that, it is downloading so many things. See, it is downloading so many things. Eclipse, Jetty, I don't know what other things it downloaded. So you don't have to worry about what are the things, what are the things it downloaded. Okay, basically, so it downloaded all the things, all the dependencies from where? From this repo.maven.apache.org. This is my central repo. Okay, this is my central repo. Public repo. This is my public repo, which is central. Everyone can use it. All over the world, anyone can use it. Okay. So right now, this is access to our internet, obviously, because everyone can use it. Correct. Even you downloaded something, you can download it from here. Okay. Even if I open this thing from, let's say, from my laptop, I'll be able to see it over the internet. If I see, this is access to our internet. Okay, so this means my EC2 instance has access to internet, correct? But it might not always be the case in your projects. So we have security, correct? We have security implemented in our project. So our instances in our project might not have internet connectivity. Okay. So what will happen? How will these artifacts will get downloaded if I do not have internet connectivity? Tell me. What is a logical thing then can you think of? My project needs all these dependencies, all these things to have downloaded. And my internet does not, and my system does not allow to have internet connection. So how will I get down? How will I download all these jars and dependencies?
Can you not copy it from another system?
Yeah, right. And how will the system get it?
It needs to have
It needs to have internet connection, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because these things are available on internet, correct?
Yeah.
So what we'll do, we will copy all these repositories somewhere. Okay. And on any server, let's say we are copying all these dependencies somewhere in our local, in any system. Okay. And my server from where we are compiling all the code, that system, that server can have access to that server.
Yeah.
Correct. Without having.
And that server will have access to internet.
Yeah, that server will have access to internet. Okay.
Yeah.
So that server which has access to internet, so that can be, that we call as Artifactory. Got it? That is what Artifactory is. Nexus, for example, Nexus is an Artifactory. Like Artifactory is a place where all your dependencies are copied, are installed, which manages all your repository, all your dependencies. Correct. So instead of going to
is it installed or managed? I mean, like
both.
Copied.
Both. Installed as well as managed.
Oh, okay.
So see, right now what are the things? So see, what are the things? Now I did this command, right? Maven clean install. So I did it first time. Okay, so it downloaded all these things to my local repo. Okay, here also we have the concept of local repo. Okay, don't confuse it with Git. Git is source code version control. Okay, that is a different repo. Here I'm talking about Maven repo. Okay, here I'm talking about Maven repo. So everything which got downloaded, you see downloading from downloaded. So it downloaded somewhere. Okay, it downloaded somewhere. Where it downloaded? It downloaded to M2 folder. I showed you, right? M2 folder. It's on a root. It's on my dot. It's a .m2 folder. .m2. Okay, inside that we have repositories. So see all these things. There are many things I deleted, right? They came up again.
Yeah.
Because all these things are downloaded here. Got downloaded here. Got it? Now,
Even if you're not using it, is it downloading or is it just whatever is in the POM files downloading?
what?
Is it downloading a lot, like, what is not required?
No, it will download all the dependencies that I mentioned in my pom.xml. So all the dependencies got downloaded here in the repository.
All right.
Okay. So now they are downloaded. So next time what will happen? Next time let's say if I run this again, if I run my Maven command again, so this time you'll see it will not download anything. See, it did not download anything. Do you see?
Yeah.
This was the old command. Okay, this was the old thing. So I did here Maven clean install again. Okay, so after this, see, it did not download anything. Do you see anything like downloaded from downloading? There's nothing right? It is just deploying the application. That's it. Correct. So why did it not download? Because these things are already present in my local now. So Maven checks. If you execute this Maven command, it will first check whether the dependencies that you have mentioned in your pom.xml are present in your local repo or not. If it is present in your local repo, then it will use it. If the things are not there in your local repo, it will download it from the remote repo. That is this, the central repo. It will download everything from the internet.
Yeah.
And then place it into the local repo. Okay, next time when you install it, it will again fetch the things from the local repo. Clear?
Yeah.
This is clear? So I did a Maven install. So what it will do, it also build my code. Okay, it built the code, and what the executable got generated, a jar file got generated after it packaged. Demo, see the name of the jar was demo, right? I showed in the pom.xml. Demo -2.0. This is the version. Okay, if you see the pom.xml, pom.xml, you see what is the artifact ID? Demo. What is the version? 2.0.0.2.0 snapshot. So this is my demo. This is my version. Okay, so whatever the thing will be created, and I told you, if we do not specify anything, a jar file will be created. Correct? I do not have a package section here. So by default, a jar file got created. So see, after this, the code got packaged into this demo 2.snapshot.jar, means the artifact name and the artifact version .jar. Okay, this got created. Okay, if I see here, you see target. This target folder got created, right? Target. So inside target, I see this jar, right? So this got compiled. Like the code got compiled and the code got built, packaged, and this jar file got created. And now what they are doing is, if you see the logs, and they are installing this to root m2 repository com example demo into a repository. Now this jar file, this particular jar file is getting installed in your repository. See? Now next time if my let's say some other project, let's say XYZ project, I am right now in my this project, right? Maven, where am I? I'm in my this project right now. Nexus Maven samples. Okay, this is the name of the project right now. Okay, let's say this project created an artifact called demo 2.snapshot.jar, whatever. Okay, this my project created an artifact called demo. Let's say I want to use this jar file in some other project. Let's say I create a project XYZ project. Okay, so what will I do? I'll create a dependency in that form.xml. Not in this form.xml. I'll create a dependency in the form.xml of XYZ project. That okay, my XYZ project is dependent on this jar. Okay, so what will that? And if I execute that particular form.xml, what will happen? This particular jar will get downloaded. Okay, so from where it will download? It will download from, it will check first that if this is available in its local or not. But it is available, correct? It is there in the repo, right? It is available in com example demo, this particular jar. It is there. If it is not there, it will download it. Sorry, if it is there, it will start using it. It will download it and start using it. It will not download, it will start using it because it's already there in my local, right? But if it is not there, what will it do? It will try to search it on internet. Okay, it will again try to hit this HTTPS, repo, Maven, whatever, Maven 2, and it will try to search this demo dot this snapshot, this jar it will try to search, but it will not find it, correct? Because I have not copied it to internet somewhere. I have not posted to my central repo, to the public repo. I have not posted, correct? This repo is right now has been generated, has been packaged here on my local, and has been installed on my local as well. Got it? Got it, Prakash, Raj?
Yes. Yeah.
This is my local, right? So if my XYZ project wants to use this dependency, what will it do? It will first check local. If it is there in the local, it will use it. If it is not there in the local, it will go to the internet and check it. And it will not find it on internet because I am not pushed it, and it will throw an error. It will give an error. Correct?
Yeah.
So let's say I push this. I can copy this to a remote repo also, right? So I can push this to internet also, right? If I push this to internet, what will happen? It will first check my local. Okay, if the jar is available, it will use it. If my jar is not available on the local, it will go to the internet. If in the internet it is available, it will download it from internet, store into local, and then use it. Correct?
Yeah.
So now coming to Artifactory. Now you told, right? You said, so we can have a server in between where we can store our artifacts. Okay. And that server will have the connection to internet. Okay. But my server does not have internet connection, will not need an internet connection. It will just need a connection to that new server, that artifact server. Okay. Okay. And
Yeah.
what will happen when I run a code, when I run any Maven command on my system, what will it do? It will first check the local repository. If it is there, then it will use it. If it is not there, it will go to the artifact repository. Okay. If it is there, it will use it. If it is not there, it can download it from internet. Okay. And if it is not available on the internet, it will give an error. Clear?
Yeah.
So indirectly we have set up a proxy, correct? Instead of going to the internet directly, we are using something, a server in between, an artifactory in between. Correct? So instead of giving the internet access, we are just downloading everything from the artifactory. Got it, right?
Yeah.
So this artifactory is called Nexus.
Okay.
Okay, this artifactory is called Nexus. So Nexus will maintain everything now. All the versions. Okay. even the executable which you, even the packaging which you generated from your project, this demo 2.jar, you can store this also in the Nexus. Okay, you can store this also in the Nexus. So in that case, coming to back to example. So my machine A. So this is my project, Maven sample, whatever, Nexus Maven sample has produced this artifact, demo 2.jar, and it has installed in its local repo. Okay, .m2, whatever, local repo. Okay, and there is some other project. Let's say my developer 2, developer B, let's say you guys are creating any project, and your project has a dependency on this demo 2.snapshot.jar. Okay, and I have pushed this into the Nexus. I have pushed this thing. I have stored this thing in the Nexus. So what you guys will do? You guys will just mention the address of that Nexus server. Okay, and when you build your project, what will happen? It will first check whether this is present in local. It will not be present. Then it will check on the Nexus repo if it is present or not. And yes, it will be present because I have stored it, right? So it will download from there and you can start using it. Got it?
Yeah.
Clear?
Mm-hmm.
Clear, right?
Clear.
So this is what your Nexus is doing. Okay, so that is the need of Artifactory. So that is the requirement for Artifactory. So let's install. Let's install Nexus. Nexus installation is very straightforward. Okay. Let's create a repo here. I'll create MK. I'm creating directory here just to copy the tar file. mkdir Nexus. Create it. mkdir. Okay, I'll go to Nexus. Okay, what I'll do is I'll just install this. I'll forward you this URL to you, but this is mostly for Ubuntu, but for Linux also it should work. Okay. So these are the steps. So Java has to be installed. First prerequisite is that Java has to be installed. Okay, then you have to download the star, the latest Nexus star. Okay, you can just wget, okay, and latest star. This will download the tar file. Okay, the tar file got downloaded. Okay, now I just need to untar this file. So the tar file got untarred. Okay, so now you can start using. Now you can just start using it. Let's delete this tar file now. We don't need it now. rm -rf latest, because you already extracted it. Okay, so this is how your project Nexus will look like after installation. Okay, you have to do nothing here. Just go to Nexus. Okay, so this is the directory structure you would be seeing. So you can go to bin. So inside bin, you will see a script Nexus. Okay, you just go and do a / Nexus status. Okay, this will give you the status of Nexus if it is running or not. So right now it is stopped. It is stopped right now. I just check the status. Now I'll start it. It is saying starting Nexus. Okay, so let's check the status of Nexus again. So it says Nexus is running. So now Nexus is running. So for you, it might you might get an issue if you're using T2 micro. Okay. So see, we can install Nexus in a separate EC2 instance as well. Okay, we can have, I am doing it in my same EC2 instance in which I have installed Jenkins, I have installed Java, everything I have installed here only on the same EC2 instance. But what you can guys
But
do?
in the real world, it will be like dedicated servers, right? For each.
Yeah, yeah, it can be same, it can be dedicated as well.
Uh-huh.
If depends on the instance size, depends on the instance type. So if I use T2 micro, I'll get an error of insufficient memory, something like that. So I was getting it, so that's why I increased the size. Okay, that's why I increased the size. I changed to C5
Okay.
2x class. I changed the instance type. Okay.
So we can also do that, right? It's free, isn't
Yeah,
it?
you can also do that, or you can also try creating a new instance. Create a new instance and install everything there. You can install Java there and install Nexus there. You can name that as Nexus instance. Okay, you can have all the even for Jenkins. You can have a Jenkins instance. You can have a Nexus instance. You can have a SonarQube instance. For everything, you can have a separate instance. Okay. But to everything, but to have everything locally, I'm just doing everything in single instance on this instance.
Okay.
Okay. So just be careful in that case. In that case, if you're using multiple instances, just be sure of modifying the security groups. Okay, because your EC2 instance, like where your code is, has to interact with Nexus instance, right? So your security group, your inbound rule, outbound rule should be proper.
Okay.
Okay, just be careful about that. If you're using a single instance, then no need to worry about that. Okay, so my Nexus is running. If I see Nexus status, so it says Nexus is running. So how to access Nexus? Nexus is by default accessible on port number 8081. For Jenkins, we have 8080, correct? So if I go to my public IP, I'll open it in incognito. Okay, if I do 8080, it will take to my Jenkins, correct? Because Jenkins I also installed in the same instance, correct?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, but if I do 8081, it will take me to Nexus. Okay.
It looks like some sort of video game.
Yeah. See, this is my UI for Nexus. Okay. This is my Jenkins. And port 8081, we have Nexus. So that's what happens. So every tool that we discuss will, so there are some default ports associated with it. You can always go ahead and change these default ports, not an issue. But yeah, 8081 is the default port for Nexus. 8080 is the default port for Jenkins. For SonarQube, default port would be 9000. Okay. So we'll see that after Nexus. Okay, so this is how my Nexus looks. Okay, so I can go sign in. Okay, by default, so yeah, it says your admin user password is located in this. So my username would be admin. Okay, my password, it says, is located in root, Nexus, Sonar type, work, Nexus 3 admin password. Let's see. Sonar type, yeah, right. So we are at root, Nexus, Sonar type work, Nexus 3. Here I have admin password. Okay, I'll just copy the password from here. Okay, so this is the password which I got. So this is the first time password it will show you. So initially you have to proceed with this only. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Following it?
Yeah.
So first time I'll have to log in with this. So next time it will ask me to, if I want to, this wizard will help you to complete required set of tasks. I'll say next. Okay, now it's asking me to change the password. I'll do admin. Okay, admin. Okay. enable anonymous access means anyone can access, or you want to specify some permission. So I'll use enable anonymous access. The setup task have been completed. Enjoy using Nexus repository manager. I'll do finish. Okay. So yeah. So now you will see two things here. This is your browse and this is your admin. So admin is the place where you can manage repositories and where you manage so many things, users, manage different. This is your admin console. Okay, and this is your browsing, where you can do all the browsing. Browsing as in like browse all the repositories and those things. So by default, you see you have Maven Central, Maven Public, Maven releases. Okay. So you have all the repositories right now here. See, by default, these are there. Okay. But let's say we want to create our own repository. Okay, because for my project, I want to create my own repository, correct? So I'll go to the admin console. Okay, I'll go to repositories. Okay, here I can create a repository. Let's create a repository. So here you see there are so many things available here, APT, browser, different types of repositories I can create for different products. Okay, so your Nexus can store artifacts from various products. Docker as well, from Helm as well. We'll see Docker and other things we'll see. Maven, see Maven, we're interested in these. Okay, so other examples you can see. Yum artifacts as well. Every artifact it can store. So for now, let's create Maven to proxy. So why is it called proxy? Proxy is the same thing that I told you, an example. Like instead of connecting to the internet directly, so there is something called that path I showed you, right? That URL, maven.org, that was this one, repo.maven.org. So instead of going to this directory, I am going to my repository and doing the things. Correct. Everything I'm everything I'm downloading from my repository only. Correct. So this serves as my proxy. So I'll call it Nexus proxy repo. I'll call it. Okay. So version policy, let's name it. Let's leave it everything default. Okay. Remote storage. That's saying you enter the URL of the remote storage. So this is my URL of the remote storage. Okay. So I want whatever requests are coming to here should be redirected to this and get downloaded. Got it?
Yeah.
So this is the proxy I'm creating. So I leave everything by default. Okay, I'll go and create repository. Okay, so my Nexus proxy repo is ready. So if I go and browse this, I can browse my Nexus repository. See, it is here. Nexus proxy repository is here, which I just created. Right now, it does not have anything. See, right now it does not have anything. So let's start doing something. So I'll go to my project again. Okay, what my project? CD September. Okay, so I'll go to my project again. So here, right now, what I have to mention somewhere, correct? I have to mention somewhere that whatever packages I'm downloading has to be downloaded from the repository. I have to create a connection, correct? How will I create it? For that, I have something called settings.xml. There is a file called settings.xml, and this settings.xml has to be located in your M2 folder. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll copy it. I'll do a cp setting_private. You can follow the same step. If you're copying the same repository, you can follow the same step. Okay. Cp, I'll copy it to .m2. Okay, that's it. .m2. I have copied it. Okay, let's go to my .m2 right now. Let's see what is there in this file. Okay, I'll rename it. MV. I'll call it settings.xml. Okay, that is a standard name. You have to keep it always settings.xml. Oh, sorry. Wrong command. MV setting. Okay, so I created a settings.xml. So what is inside the settings.xml? So it looks something like this. Don't be worried about so many things. I can remove many things from here. So first of all, let's remove this part. I'll remove the servers because I don't want any authentication. Okay, so I'll remove all the servers part because it's this for authentication. If I want to upload something to my repository, then I'll have to go write this thing. I'll show you. We will come back to this. Okay, so we are interested in. So we are interested in basically this part, mirrors. So mirrors is a place where you tell it that from where it has to download so many things, from where it is going to link it. Okay, so in mirrors, in the URL, I'll specify the URL of my repository which I created. Okay, so what was the repository which I created? I'll go to repositories. This Nexus repository I created, right? Nexus proxy repo. So I'll copy this URL. And I'll paste it. Oh, sorry. Okay, fine. Clear? Okay, so these profiles, let me delete it. Okay, it will make your life confusing. So I'm deleting all the profiles except Nexus. Okay. So they have created some profiles for environment dev. So we can delete it. We can delete all these profiles. We'll see that later. These are some advanced things. So just delete all these stuffs. Till here I'm deleting it. Okay, till this profile for Nexus. Okay, this I wanted. I just want to keep the file simple. That's it. Okay. Clear? So I did nothing here. I just copied the URL of my repository which I created. Okay, I copied the URL of the repository which I created and I pasted it here. Okay, so my my system knows that okay, I have to go to this. So this is my proxy, correct? This is my proxy. So for downloading anything, it will go to this. And if it is not there, this thing will download it from internet. Okay, because I have specified here, right? Remote storage is this. It is a proxy. It is proxy to this. Got this idea, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll save it. So let's delete those things from a repository again. Okay, just for a better demo. Sorry.
Now we will copy from the proxy.
Yeah. You can keep it, not an issue, but I'm just deleting it for just to show you that how the things are getting downloaded. Okay, most of the things is downloaded, deleted. So I deleted all the things. So if I do mvn install again, so again it should download, right? But let's see where it is getting downloaded from. I'll go to my repository again. Side the location where my pond.xml is. Okay, so I did not see anything here. So still dependencies are the same. Okay. I'm not saying anything here. I'm not saying anything here. Don't worry about this distribution thing. We'll come to it later. Okay. Don't worry about these two things. We'll come to it later. Okay. For now, just ignore everything. Just imagine about the dependencies that my project requires these two dependencies, and this is the artifact that it is going to produce. Okay. So I'll do mvn clean install. See, wait, let it freeze, then I'll show you from where it is downloading. You see the server IP here. I think it's moving very fast for you guys, so you're not able to see. Wait, it will let it run and then I'll show you. See, now it is showing downloading from Nexus, HTTP, our proxy repo. Got it? See it, right? Raj, Prakash? You guys there?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Can you hear me?
So earlier, what was it? Earlier it was Apache maven.org, that thing, right? But now
Yeah.
it is referring to my repository which I have created. Okay, so if I go to my repository and let's see what is it showing here. If I go to browse my repository. Okay, you see here everything got downloaded.
Okay.
It was empty, right?
Yeah.
So what happened? When I triggered maven clean install, my project, the pond.xml saw that read all the dependencies. Okay, these are the Spring dependencies and whatever dependencies I have. It searched for the dependencies in its local repo. It did not find it. So it went to my artifactory name. It went to my Nexus, this repository, because I have mentioned in settings.xml, right? It went to here, and it saw it is also not here. Those dependencies were also not there. So what did it do? It downloaded from internet, saved it here, okay, then sent it to my local, my project. Okay,
Yeah.
now I have the dependencies here also and here also, and Nexus also. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, and it is also deploying this. Now see, if you see this root demo 2.0, it created a jar file, and it has installed the jar file right now in my local. It has not installed the jar file in the Nexus repo right now. Okay, but I want that. Correct. This was my second requirement. Let's say you guys have to run this. Let's say you guys have to have the need of this demo 2.0 sample snapshot.jar. Okay, so I have to store it in the Nexus. Correct. I have to push it to Nexus. Correct.
Yes.
So what will I do?
We have to modify the form file, isn't it?
We have to create new repositories now. So this was a proxy repo, correct?
Yeah.
So now proxy repo is for other dependencies that I have. But I'll create a new repository now. I'll create a hosted repository. I'll create a Maven 2 hosted repository. See, I created a proxy repository, correct? And what was in proxy repository doing? My proxy repository was downloading the things from the internet instead of my server downloading things from internet.
Yeah.
That was my proxy. So now I'll create a hosted repository. So what this repository will do? It will just store the artifacts that I am creating. The artifacts of the project I am creating. For example, demo.org, whatever artifacts that I am creating. So that is storing those jar files of this project. Got it? So in case any other application or any other project which I am creating requires this, it can use it. Okay. So this hosted repository, I'll create 2 hosted repositories, let's say. Okay, first I'll create a separate repository for snapshot and a separate repository for releases. Okay. You got the idea for releases and snapshots, right? What are the snapshots and what are releases? Snapshots are the dev, snapshots are things that we deploy on dev or some slower environment just for testing and those purposes. Okay, but releases are something at a higher level. Like if you want to deploy on UAT, if you want to deploy something on production, we deploy all those things as a release, correct? We call it like after our quarterly release, a September release, like monthly release, quarterly release, yearly release. So we'll create 2 repositories. First, we'll create a snapshot release, a snapshot repository, and we'll create a release repository. So if in case my developer, my pom.xml has a release keyword, okay, it will store the artifact in release. And if my this pom.xml has snapshot, it will store the artifact in snapshot. Okay. So in Nexus, I'll call it snapshot. Let's create a snapshot first. Nexus snapshot repo. Let's call it Nexus snapshot repo. Okay. Here version policies, I'll change the snapshot. Okay, because it's my snapshot repo. Okay, so there are 3 types of version policies available. One is for release, one is for snapshot, other is mixed. Mixed, you can keep anything. Even you can keep release, you can keep release and snapshot both in mixed. Okay, but I'm keeping it separate. Okay, I'm creating a snapshot repo. Okay, version policy snapshot. Okay, layout policy, I'll leave other things as default. Deployment policy. So you have something called deployment policy. Deployment policies disable redeploy, or it can be allow redeploy, read only, or deploy by replication of these things. So what allow redeploy means? So if I have, let's say, version 3, let's say in my pom.xml, listen this very carefully. Okay, in my pom.xml, let's say my version is 2.0.snapshot. Okay, so let's say developer runs a ambient clean deploy or whatever. He deploys the code, and the artifact has been stored in my Nexus repository. Okay, and next time again he deploys 2.0, same thing. Okay, so if I do allow redeploy here, so that thing will get renamed. That will get the thing that I already have here, 2.0, that will get overwritten. Okay, but if I do a disable redeploy, then I'll get an error because it will say that 2.0 has been already deployed. In that case, I have to change the version of this. I have to do 3.0 in that case. I have to push 3.0 then. Got it?
Yes.
Clear?
Yes.
So for snapshot, what I'll do for a snapshot, let's allow it because snapshot are for lower environment, right? So let's allow the rewriting of the artifact. Okay, so I'll allow redeploy. Okay, I'll just create a repository. Okay, so similar to this, I'll create a release repository. Okay, that will again be my Maven 2 hosted repository. Okay, I'll create a Nexus, release, repo. Okay, this for release. Okay, so version policy is by default release. I'll keep it as it is. Okay, for release, I have to disable. Let's say for release, I'm disabling it because releases are important. Correct? Release only monthly or quarterly or those things. So I want to disable because these are for security purpose. I don't want anyone to overwrite the artifacts. Okay, for release, let's say I'm disabling it. Okay, so for you can see both of these examples here. Idea is clear, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have both the snapshot, Nexus released repo and Nexus. Oh, sorry. I have both the repos now, release repo and snapshot repo. So all the snapshots will go here, all the release will go here. Okay, so now let's build it. Okay, now I have to do a change here. So here I have a snapshot in the pom.xml. I have something called snapshot repository. Okay, here I have Nexus deployment. So my ID is Nexus. So I'll change it first. Okay, this is for my snapshot. Okay, so here I will copy the snapshot repository name. What was my snapshot repository URI? Snapshot. So I'll copy this snapshot URL. Okay, and paste it here. Okay, and this is for release. Okay, and this is for, it is not written, but on snapshot it is written as a separate tag, but release does not have a separate tag. Okay, I'll change the ID because my ID is Nexus only. And here I will copy my release URL. Release repo. I'll copy this. Clear? Got it?
Yes.
Okay. So for pushing it, we have to do ambient deploy. Okay, we have to do ambient clean deploy. We'll do ambient clean. What will clean do? Clean will do nothing. It will just delete the target folder. That's it. Or we can do ambient deploy also, not an issue. So whatever there was in the target, it will get deployed to my server. It will get installed on my remote repo. What happened to this? Why did it get stuck? You guys can see my screen? Hello?
Hello. Hi. Yeah.
Hello? Yeah, sorry, I think internet I lost my internet connection. Okay, so yeah, till where did you hear me? Till when did you hear me?
MVN and then it got this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll do ambient deploy. So what will ambient deploy do? Oh, I lost the connection. Restart session. EC2 user sudo su. Here was in my September, right? September. CD Nexus. Okay, So what will I do? I'll do a ambient deploy. See, it tried to upload it, but it failed. It says uploading to downloading from Nexus. Whatever it tried to download, it tried to upload it. Uploading to Nexus this. It is trying to upload the jar file that it created. See, demo.this and pom.this. These two things, it was trying to upload it, but it could not. It said it's unauthorized. So for this, what I have to do? In the M2, I have to add that part, admin part, like the server part that I removed earlier. You remember it, right? Which I removed initially, which I said I'll tell you later.
Yes.
So I'll go to my settings.xml and just add that particular section. Okay, what was the section? I just need to copy it from somewhere. Hide floating controls. Okay, let's copy it from somewhere first. Where was it? It should be here as well, right? vi certain underscore private. So this code I'm talking about in the servers. This is for authentication. If you want to upload something to your repository, you have to add this part. Okay, I've copied it. So I'll paste this thing into my M2. It's the starter proxies. So I pasted it. So don't worry about indentation. Indentation does not matter here. Okay, I have to change the ID. ID is not correct. ID is Nexus for us. Okay. Clear? Now let's do a deploy. And see in my pom.xml, what was it? In my pom.xml? In my pom.xml, it's a snap. It is a release. It's a no, sorry, it's a snapshot. Don't worry about this. Is a parent. I'm not talking about a parent. I'm talking about this. The main artifact of our project. Artifact of our project is version is 2.0 snapshot. So this is our snapshot, correct? So ideally, it should go into the snapshot repo that we have created, correct? So let's try to find. So right, let's see what is there in my snapshot first. If I go to browse, it should be empty because I have not stored anything there. Snapshot repo. It's nothing there. Right now, there is nothing here. Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's do a ambient deploy. Let's see what happens now. Now see, uploading to Nexus, this, so it is now uploaded. It is build success. So if I go here and check, if I do a refresh, see, I see here, com example, demo, and in this, I have the snapshot, 2.0 snapshot. Got it?
Yeah.
And I can run ambient deploy again, it will not give an error. Because why? Why will it not give an error?
You have allowed overwriting.
Right. So it did not give an error. It will push a new same version again. So let's say I change the pom.xml now, and I make it version 3, let's say. So again, I can do a minimal deploy. Now a new version of the code will get deployed there. You see, 3.0 also came in. Okay. But nothing is going to my release. It is going everything is going to my snapshot repo. If I see the release repo, it is still empty. It does not have anything. So let's say after a few deployments, I am doing my changes are fixed. So I'm doing a release deployment now. Okay, instead of snapshot, I'll mention release.
So this keyword is standard for.
Yes, this standard. Okay, if I do a main deploy. Fail to transfer, could not transfer artifact from fail to transfer file. Which file did it fail to transfer? Fail to transfer file, repository, Nexus, release, repo, com, example. Okay, let me see that error again. Fail to execute goal deploy, fail to deploy artifact, could not transfer artifact. This from Nexus to I have not installed it, right? Because before that I have to build that as well. Before deploying it, I have to do MVN clean install first. I did not do it. I did MVN clean install for snapshot, correct?
Yeah.
For build also, for release also I have to do the cleaning, right? Cleaning and installing. So I'll do MVN clean install. So it should clean the target folder in which there was snapshot earlier. Okay, now I see demo release is there. Now if I do MVN deploy, it should work. See, now it worked. Now if I go and see inside release also I have this 3.0 release.
Yeah.
Now if you want to use it, if you want to, let's say, use this repo, what you will do, you will just copy this dependency. See, this dependency also have this type of section now. You see, anyone who wants to use this jar as a dependency has just need to add this thing into its pom.xml dependency. Okay. I'll show you this as well. I'll show you this as well. Okay. Got it? Got the idea of proxy repository and hosted repository?
Yeah. I don't understand what we did for the MV and clean again.
This one, MVN clean install that we did?
Yeah.
Okay, see. Okay, the error which I was facing, this we are talking about. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're asking about the error which I was facing, how did it resolve it? Okay, so the error was, see, I have to do a MVN, I have to compile the code and build an artifact, correct? After I do a MVN clean install, so there is a target folder gets generated. Okay, a target folder gets generated, and that target folder contains my artifact. CD target. Inside target folder, I can see the artifact. Correct.
Okay.
demo3.release.jar. This is my artifact. And after that, if I go and deploy, this only thing will get deployed. Okay, this will be the thing that get deployed. And, and what did I do with that time? When I shifted from snapshot to release, I created my snapshot. Okay, initially I did my snapshot. my target folder had a demo3-snapshot.jar, and I was doing a
okay.
deploy.
Okay,
so
it's like a working directory. Yeah, you have to keep on refreshing it. Okay.
No, it's not a working directory. It's not a working directory. It's like, it's a directory where your artifact will get generated. Like anything you have build it, right? Using mvn clean install, my code gets built, an artifact gets generated, and the artifact can be a release artifact or a snapshot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And is it like a temporary directory then?
Not a temporary directory. It can be permanent.
Uh-huh.
It is not a temporary directory, but whatever changes you are doing into the code, that will ultimately get reflected in the jar file only, right? Because jar
Yeah.
file is nothing. It is packaging a code. It is packaging your class files. So whatever code changes you are doing, and after building every time, your new target will get generated. After every build, your new target, because jar will change, right?
Yeah.
If you do any change, if you fix any issue in your code, you do any code changes, so your jar file will change, right? Because this is actually a code only. If you do unjar of this file, you will see the code only. I don't know what is the correct command for unjar. It is basically a code only. Okay, it will not find it. Inside the jar file is a code only, right? That is why we have created a package. Okay.
Okay.
Got it now?
Yeah.
So what I faced was that I had this snapshot.jar in there, and I was trying to deploy a release. So it was saying that it did not find a release.jar here, because I had not done I had not compiled that, and I had not built the code at that time. So I built the code and I release.jar and got generated, and I deployed that release.jar there. Got it?
Yeah.
So so these were the repositories which we saw. We saw release repo. Sorry, we saw hosted repo and proxy repo, and there is something called group repo as well. There's something called group repo as well. So in group repo is a group of proxy and hosted. Okay, let's say you guys have to install. You guys are creating any project. So what I had in my settings.xml. In my settings.xml in M2, what did I have? If I go to my settings.xml, what did I have? My project was referring to this point. Was referring to Nexus proxy repo. It was referring to proxy repo, right? So whatever artifacts are there in my proxy repo, only those will get downloaded. Okay, if you guys, if on your laptop, if you guys are let's say using this repo, so in my Nexus proxy repo, I do not have that demo.jar, right? My demo.jar was where? It was in release repo and snapshot repo, right?
Yeah.
My demo.jar which I created, I have stored it in release repo and snapshot repo. Correct?
Yeah.
So if you guys mention this, in Nexus proxy repo in your settings.xml in your M2, so your demo this will not get downloaded, because it is present where? It is present in a different repo.
Yeah.
So that is why we create a group repo. So group repo combines two repos, multiple repos. Okay, I'll show you, then it will become more clear. Okay. So there is, let's create a repo. Okay, this time I'll create a Maven group repo. I'll call it Nexus group repo. Okay, let it be released. Okay, and here I can add all the repos that it can comprise of. So Nexus, let's say Nexus snapshot repo, Nexus release repo, as well as Nexus proxy repo. Okay, so this particular repo will have all these artifacts. Okay, Got it?
Okay. Yeah.
So where's my Nexus group repo? Yeah, this is my Nexus group repo. Okay, so this is my URL. So you guys have to use this URL instead of this URL in your repo. Instead of this URL in your settings.xml, you guys have to use this URL now. So if you use this URL, your all those Spring and etc., all those dependencies which were in your project, that will get downloaded. Also, the dependencies which I have pushed in my release repo and snapshot repo, even that will be available to you. Okay, because this repo is a group of 3 repos. Got it? It's easy, right?
Yeah.
It's simple concept.
Mm.
So I'll show you something. I'll show you a demo as well. Okay, let's say I'm going to my another EC2 instance. Okay, let's say it's you now. I'll have to copy this. Let's access it. Getting the concept, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is my another EC2 instance. EC2 user. Here also everything Maven and everything is installed. Okay. CD. I'll go to .m2 to check if everything is there. Not there. Over. mpn -- version. Okay, Maven is installed. Maven is, sorry, MVN. MV not. Okay, Maven is installed here. Let's go to my .m2 and see if I have. Okay, I'll remove settings.xml from here as well. I'm starting fresh from your laptop. Let's say this is your laptop. Okay. I'll remove these repositories as well. So these are the old things that we are practicing that day. Remember? Calculator and those things. Okay, so there is nothing. Only one folder is there, not an issue. Okay, so let's create a project here. Let's call it October. Oh, sorry. October. I go to CD October. Okay, let's clone any project here. Right, floating operations. I'll go to my repo again and I'll copy Maven samples. Okay, this project I'm copying it. Okay, this project I'm copying, let's say. Okay, this, how will I clone this? I'll go to code. I'll copy this URL. I'll go to my laptop. I'll do, tell me the command, git.
Pull.
Prakash, Raj?
Yeah. It pull. Yeah.
Clone. I'm cloning my repo right now.
Okay.
Pull is for
Clone.
like already have that thing in my repo, like already have that repo, and then I'm pulling the changes. Right now I do not have the local repo. I'm just cloning that complete repo. Okay, so you would git clone that repo name. Okay, so it brought things here. I'll go to the project inside. Let's see, there are 2 modules here, multi-module and single module. Okay, let's go to the single module. Single module, it has a pom.xml which we need. Okay, let's see what is in the pom. Okay, it's a long pom, so we'll not worry about it. Let it be whatever it has. We are only worried about dependencies. Okay, there are many dependencies.
Yeah.
And I didn't even see I don't care what all those dependencies are. I don't even care. I'll add one dependency just to show you guys that let's say this project needs one of my dependency. Okay, one of my dependencies means the one of the project which I have created. This let's say release. Okay, let's say this particular this particular project is dependent on this demo 3.0 release. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll copy this dependency. That's it. I'll copy this dependency and I'll paste it. Okay, and I'll save it. Okay, and in settings.xml, I'll point this to my group repository which I have created. Okay, so I'll go to BI. So sorry, what is it? .m2 BI.m2 settings.xml. Okay, settings.xml is not there right now, so I'll have to create it. I'll do a settings.xml bi/m2 settings.xml. Okay, let's create it. Let's create this file here. So I'll just copy the settings.xml from where? From my everything got. Okay, this is my string. I'll copy this code. Okay, I'll copy the settings.xml there also. Oh, what happened? Okay, no worries. Let it be like that. We don't care about the indentation in this. So that's the best thing about XML files. You don't have to worry about the indentation. Okay, so here instead of Nexus proxy repo, what will I write? I'll write the URL of what? Tell me, guys. Group repo, right?
Yeah, group repo.
I'll mention the URL of group repo. Okay, so now if I go ambient, clean, install, what will happen? It says error. Why is it saying error? Because failed to read artifact descriptor for transfer. What is the error? Downloading from Nexus. It is trying to download from this repository. Dependencies could not resolve. Failed to read artifact descriptor for org, Maven, plugins, Maven clean, plugin jar, whatever, could not transfer artifact. Return code is 500. Return code is 500. Or what is it? Let's see my pom.xml if there is an error or not. This is good. I don't have to worry about any other thing, by the way. But still, let's check. No, there is not issue. No issues here. I guess in m2.file we did some errors. Let's go to our m2 file first. cd dot m2. Inside we have settings.xml. Here I mentioned the server name. Okay. Is it because of this weird orientation or what? $54, $205, $63, $166. Let me confirm it again. It is 54205. This is my Nexus group repo. Layout policy. Looks fine. Just give me a second, guys. Download actually. Why is it not downloading? Nexus group repo. Okay, let me remove this authentication first. Let's see if it is. Let me try it again. D is the path. October. Symbol. MVN. Clean. Downloading from. Okay, failed on downloading. Downloading from MVN compile, let's put it is not able to access my repository. Plugin on one of its dependencies could not be resolved. Failed to read artifact descriptor for org, Apache, Maven resources, plugins, yards. Failed to transfer file. Okay, let me remove the that server part again. M2 PI. Going to my settings.xml again. To setting. You guys there?
Yeah.
Okay, just see how I'm fixing it. Even I'm not sure what is the error, but we'll fix it. No issues.
Are you removing everything now?
Let's see. Let's try. Again, the same error.
So it's downloading from the other server, isn't it?
Because we have specified this in the settings.xml, right?
In the proxy, is it?
We have specified this in the settings.xml only. I don't know if it is not aligned, that's why it is giving an error.
You can copy paste.
It should already download it. Return code is 500. Man, Nexus is running or not? It is running. Content deposition, your policy is to format is Maven 2, that is fine. Group, that is also good. Allows anonymous access also true. Repositories. Let's see if this has all the repositories or not. Nexus proxy repositories has. Nexus snapshot also it has. Nexus release also it has.
Do we need to add that Maven Central also?
Hmm?
Do we need to add the Maven Central repository?
No, Maven Center is not needed here actually. Only 3 repositories should do.
Because the other server is trying to download something else, right?
No, it has anyways proxy repositories already confirmed there, right? It has already access to the Nexus proxy, and Nexus proxy talks to my central Maven. So that is not an issue. is the issue? What is the issue? What is the issue? What is the issue? Nexus group people. See, downloaded all the things in the Nexus group because these things are already there in my because it's a combination of all those 4 things, right? So in the com you see com example, in this I should have release. Okay, so this is what where I'm interested in. So it is not able to find this release actually. So let's check if we have mentioned it properly or not in the form also. The plugins, the dependencies I have this. Com example demo 3.release, that is fine. Dependency one version. So this is the same thing, right? Group ID demo 3.0 release dependency. Okay, so this is good. This is good actually. What is the issue then? Is this machine not able to access my that machine? Maybe I have to check the security groups. This is my machine. Okay, this is having security group. 8081 is allowed. Port 0 is fine. Setting is fine. So they both have the same security groups and they are in the same VPC as well. And the default VPC only, right? 2F networking, 2F. They're in the same VPC, so they should connect as well. Not an issue on that. Can see it's in more detail. It says error plugin could not resolve, failed to artifact. It says Maven clean plugin or one of the dependency not resolved. Failed to receive artifact descriptor. Could not transfer artifact. Merge. Server error. Why is it saying server error? Failed to transfer file. HTTP. Which is Nexus. Okay, let me search it. I don't know what is the reason. So that happens. That is very normal in case of in DevOps. It's very normal. I guess it's m2.file settings.xml only the issue. Okay, let me verify this m2 because this looks a bit weird to me. This is okay. Let me clone that project again and copy that private.xml from there. Okay, I'll copy that from there. What was that? Yeah, this one had that, right? Git clone. I guess it's all about alignment issues. Okay, I have this. I'll move this. MVC system underscore private.xml 2 and 2. Oh, sorry, dot m2. Dot m2. I'll move it there. Then go to cd dot m2. I'll remove this settings.xml first. Okay, now I'll edit this. This should be in a good format. Yeah, this looks better. Let's remove this server. Okay, I'll remove other profiles except the one in Nexus. Okay, now I will copy. Instead of this, I will put my group repo here. What is it? You guys are there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Just look at it. What the things I'm doing. Okay. I'm not sure if this will work or not, but yeah, if things do not work, we have to have some resolution steps. So this is Okay, so now it looks good. Let's go to my October project. CD event samples. CD single module on the channel I'll do, and then install. Oh, spelling mistake. CLEAN. Oh, now it works. This was about the alignment issue, I guess. Now it says could not resolve dependencies for the project. Could not find artifact on, for example, $3 in central repo. In central repo, why is it still seeing the central repo? Why is it still seeing the central repo? Repo, Maven Apache or Maven 2? Did I rename it settings.xml? CD dot into. Ah, shit. I have to name it as settings.xml, right? Settings.xml. Yeah, now it should be fine, I guess. Now let's try. Come on, this time. Come on. Shit. This is correct, right? This is correct. What is the issue in that? $500, why is it saying 54? What is IP? 54, right? 54, 205, 63, 166, 80, 81. Okay, let's see it in the next session. I'll see what is the error is. But this was not a big concern. Okay, so we knew we understood what is repository. Okay, we understood what is repository, what is central repository, remote repository, and local repository. Plus, we created some proxy repository and some hosted repositories. Okay, so that is the those things are more important. So group repository is fine. We'll see why this is not working. But the concept to get it right. What is a group repository? So a group repository is a repository which combines multiple repositories, and instead of giving one proxy repository, I can give the URL of the group or repository. Okay, and all the artifacts present in the group repository will be handled, will be used. Okay, and you got to know what is Nexus, right? So Nexus concept is clear. Why do we use Nexus? The concept of repositories and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys can repeat this session, like practice it, like create your you can use my repo, like you can go to my folder on GitHub. You will find it easily. Just search with this name, Puneet Gavri, without any space. You'll find my repositories. Okay, and you can just copy any of the repository in yours. Okay, or you can
Okay.
directly just clone it. You can
Clone
directly
it, right? Yeah. Okay.
yeah, just go to the code, just go to the code, copy this URL, and do a git clone on the laptop. That's it. You can easily clone it. Okay. Okay, and yeah, other things also you can practice. Like in the previous sessions, whatever we have did, installing Jenkins and everything. So in the next session, we'll see more on Sonar cubes and integrating Nexus and Sonar cube both in the Jenkins. Okay.
Okay.
So that will complete our whole Jenkins thing. Okay, after we have integrated, then we'll come to deployment part. So continuous integration will get completed after this, like after Jenkins. Okay, then again we'll use Jenkins to deploy other things on using Docker and those things, Kubernetes we'll see. But yeah. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Okay, then let's meet on next session. My laptop battery is going to die as well. Okay, if you guys want, you can drop. I'll still keep on figuring out what the issue can stay and see what are the things I'm trying.
Okay.
But yeah, this thing is very normal in DevOps. Okay, very normal when you're working with so many different tools and working on so many different things. Okay, it's very highly likely that you will face this issue. Okay.
Okay.
Let me build something else as well. Let's go to the multi-module and build it. Let's not include this. I'll directly go to MVM clean install. I think I removed something important from the repository. Let me comment this settings.xml. The settle report, this is downloading. Could not be resolved.